Very good evening, my friends.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
very,
evening.
very good evening, and nice that we are back. And then today we'll be dealing with the two more classes of the Memorandum of Association. Maybe if time permits, we'll conclude. That is, one clause is the liability clause. In fact, the liability clause means this is in section 4, subsection 1D. I request all of you to put off your mics because it is sounding disturbance. Thank you. 4.1 Clause D. It says the liability of members of the company should be stated whether limited or unlimited. So there could be companies limited by liability limited by shares limited by guarantee. I have already explained this. Here is the legal provision, section 4, subsection 1, clause D, which says that the liability of the members of the company must be stated as to whether it is unlimited or limited, and also further it should be stated in the case of a company limited by shares, that liability of members is limited to the amount unpaid, if any, on the shares held by them. For example, I undertake to contribute to 1000 shares, and then I have paid half the amount on 1000 shares at the rate of 10 rupees each. I paid 5000. Balance 5000 I am liable to pay, and it is stated that the liability would be limited to the balance of 5000. If I have already paid full 10,000 rupees, then my liability is to the extent of my shareholding only, but nothing else, not even a single pie more than what has been ultimately contributed by them in full. Then it is a case of a company limited by guarantee. The amount up to which each member undertakes to contribute has to be taken into account. And then this is with regard to section 4, subsection 1, clause D, with subclause 2, A and B, where it is stated that in the case of a company limited by guarantee, the amount up to which each member undertakes to contribute to the assets of the company in the event it's being wound up, while he is a member or within 1 year after he ceases to be a member, for payment of the debts and liabilities of the company or of such debts and liabilities as may have been contracted before he ceases to be member, as the case may be, and to the cost, charges, and expenses of winding up and to investment of the rights of the contributories among themselves. So, what it tells you that the liability clause is concerned, it is the liability of the members, which is either to be stated as limited or unlimited. If it is unlimited, it is on par with sole proprietorship, partnership, and then it will go to the personal assets of the shareholder. That is because it is unlimited. I don't think there is any unlimited company in existence today. Now, the next question is a company limited by guarantee, limited by shares. And I have come across, in fact, some instances of companies limited by guarantee also, where they give an undertaking that with regard to winding up, only at the time of winding up, the amount that they undertake to pay and so on. That is what I have now read out. And the expenses of winding up, the costs and charges, and the adjustments and rights of the contributors also. This is the case with regard to the company limited by guarantee. Now, company limited by shares is concerned, the amount that has been contributed in full is only liable in the event of winding up. And in the event there are any dues, only to the extent of the balance, the shareholders are liable to pay. Nothing else more than that. A single pie need not be paid in case of a company limited by shares. Friends, now the question comes with regard to the alteration. Now the alteration of memorandum, again, the general clauses come into picture, what we have seen that other day I have just told you. Section 13, alteration of memorandum, 13 subsection 10. No alteration made under this section shall have any effect until it has been registered in accordance with the provisions of this section. And this provision says basically a special resolution must be passed. And then further, the particular change has to be intimated to the register of companies. Well, in the event the liability of the company, members of the company, is to be enhanced or it is to be made out varied, then a special resolution is required by the general body and accordingly appropriate decision has to be taken and then the special resolution has to be registered with the register of companies within 30 days. Then the registrar will make a note of that. This is the position with regard to the liability clause. Now, friends, we will now come to the last part of our, in fact, last but least, the capital clause. This is the most important thing. What is the capital clause of the company? In fact, again, come back to the section 4. Section 4, subsection 1, clause E deals with this subject matter. It says that the memorandum of a company shall state, in the case of a company having a share capital, the amount of share capital with which the company is to be registered, that is called authorized capital, and the division thereof. That means if the company is having 1 lakh rupees share capital divided into 10, it is 10,000 equity shares of 10 rupees each. It is like 10,000 shares of equity shares divided into rupees 10 each, total comes to 1 lakh, and then that is how the division goes. Or preference share capital normally will be the consolidated amount with regard to, like, normally it is 100 rupees or so. And in fact, in old guard, mostly this preference share capital was in vogue. A lot of changes came now. It is mostly equity shares which is in vogue today. Then it is further stated that the amount of share capital with which the company is to be registered and the division thereof, that's what the division I have told you, and into fixed amount and the number of shares which the subscribers to the memorandum agree to subscribe, which shall not be less than 1 share, and the number of shares each subscriber to the memorandum intends to take, indicated opposite his name. Further, in the case of a one person company, the name of the person who, in the event of death of the subscriber, shall become the member of the company, because successor should be nominated. Otherwise, the company would be without any shareholder. So, this is the most important aspect, dear friends, pertaining to the share capital clause. The capital clause clearly says the authorized capital, and then the authorized capital has to be stated clearly for the reason that the company cannot go beyond the authorized capital. For example, I tell you, in a case where a company has authorized capital of 20 crores, then it wants to go for expansion. Then there are people who can contribute. You just can't go ahead with the issue of shares beyond the 10 crores. It's an offense. You can never go beyond. Then you have to amend, alter the articles, memorandum, increase the authorized capital, then you have to issue the shares. This is the most important aspect. Why this rule has come? You may say, the authorized capital right now, why can't we put 100 crores? each time why should we go for amendment? It's a good question. The answer is that in the event you indicate the authorized capital higher amount more than requirement, you have to pay the necessary fees to the registrar of companies based on the amount of authorized share capital, which will become a big burden to the company. That is the reason why normally the authorized capital is the amount of authorized capital is stated as per the requirement, and only when it is necessary they go for the further subscription, expansion, increase of share capital. Then they will increase the authorized capital and pay the necessary fees. But at a stretch, they don't go to the extent of higher amounts being put in authorized capital because they have to pay heavy fees to the register of companies. This is the secret behind it. Then, friends, now the next important aspect comes. With regard to the share capital clause, you have to state first what is the authorized capital. Subsequently, within the authorized capital, you can go for issue of share capital. How does it happen? Suppose I start my company with a 10 crores rupees as authorized share capital. Then 5 crores I have issued to public. So the 5 crores is called issued capital. Out of 5 crores, the public subscribed to the extent of 5 crores. Then the public subscription is 5 crores. But public will not pay in full 5 crores at a stretch. It will be in piece rate. First application, then allotment, then first and final call as the case may be. In that segmentation, whatever is paid is called the called up capital. And out of called up capital, there would be part payments also. Then they say there would be that is paid up capital. Remaining is unpaid capital where those shares could be then forfeited to that person. The amount paid is forfeited and the shares would be sold to some other persons. This is how the things move out. That's the reason why in the balance sheets they say authorized capital, then they say issued, subscribed, called up, paid up share capital of a company. This is the language they normally use. Then, friends, as I have already told you, in the event you want to alter the memorandum of association with regard to the capital clause, liability clause is over. For anything, alteration requires a special resolution. Now, capital clause also requires a special resolution. It goes without saying. And then the compulsorily it should be met with a special resolution. The second thing is that as you see, section 13 says, save as provided in section 61, a company may by a special resolution and after complying with the procedure specified, alter the provisions of its memorandum of association. This is the most important aspect. Then how the company can alter the capital clause? The company can go for expansion, and then a company can go for more issue of shares. If the authorized capital is 10 crores, the company share capital already subscribed to the extent of 5 crores and paid up. The balance 5 crores, it need not pass a resolution. It can go ahead for issuing with a board decision. But what is most important here is it wants to go beyond the 10 crores, then authorized capital has to be amended and then further procedure will have to take place. This is the law thereon. So in this regard, section 61 is the most important provision, friends, which says that power of a limited company to alter its share capital. A limited company having a share capital may, if authorized by its articles, alter its memorandum in its general meeting to increase the authorized share capital. That's what I told you. By such amounts as it thinks expedient, the more it increases, the more fees it has to pay. then it can consolidate and divide all or any of its share capital into shares of a larger amount than the existing shares. It can consolidate. However, no consolidation and division which results in changes in the voting percentage of shareholders shall take effect unless it is approved by the National Company Law Tribunal on an application made in the prescribed manner. That means that if it is going to affect the voting rights, then you have to necessarily approach the NCLT for taking appropriate permission, and the NCLT will examine the rationale behind it and then pass appropriate orders. Then, friends, the company also can, in fact, first is increase authorized capital, next consolidate and divide, and then third one is convert all of any of its fully paid shares into stock and reconvert stock into fully paid shares and subdivide its shares. So all these things can be done, or it can cancel shares which at the date of passing of the resolution in that behalf have not been taken or agreed to be taken by any person and diminish the amount of its share capital by that particular amount. So this cancellation is not to be taken as reduction of share capital. Reduction of share capital is different. Cancellation of shares is different under section 61. Then, friends, under section 62, the company can go for further issue of share capital, and then, as I told you, it exceeds authorized capital, it has to amend. Otherwise, it can go ahead, and then before it goes to public, it has to offer it to the existing shareholders, which is technically called right issue. And then it has to make appropriate compliances, and then this also include, in fact, has got a relationship with the conversion of debentures into shares. So section 62 is one such important provision which you may read, and the examination point of view, you can give a passing reference. Now, friends, we come to the most important aspect again, the reduction of share capital under the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. First is section 4, capital clause, and then the authorized capital. Subsequently, the issued, subscribed, called up, paid up capital. Then alteration procedure. Section, I told you already, 13. Read with 61, 62. Then, now the next provision is 66, reduction of share capital. Here you may get a 20 marks question also, and then you have to study it. The reduction of share capital is concerned. It speaks of reducing the share capital for various reasons. A lengthy procedure is stipulated earlier also under 1956 Act. In fact, several safeguards have been ensured in order to avoid misuse by the company directors. Section 66 deals with this reduction of share capital, as I told you. It says that number one, subject to confirmation by the tribunal. That means here simply increasing authorized capital resolution is special resolution is enough. Tribunal permission not necessary. Only when you are affecting the rights of the shareholders, tribunal permission is necessary, section 61. But here is a case where under 66, the confirmation from tribunal is essential where a company limited by shares or limited by guarantee but having a share capital. A company limited by guarantee also can have a share capital. There is nothing prohibitive. And it may, by a special resolution, reduce the share capital in any manner. And in particular, it may extinguish or reduce the liability on any of its shares in respect of share capital not paid up. That means it would consolidate. Next, suppose in a particular case, out of 10 lakhs issued, 5 lakhs paid, balance not paid, then it would be consolidated to 5 lakhs. So that rest of the shares are reduced. or either with or without extinguishing or reducing liability on any of its shares, it may cancel any paid up share capital which is lost or is unrepresented by the available assets, so that the accounting picture would be crystal clear and transparent, or pay off any paid up share capital which is in excess of the wants of the company. In excess of the wants of the company, I am having 1 crore rupees more at share capital. Tomorrow it will be a burden to distribute dividend. What is the logic behind is it would be a burden to distribute dividend. So I would then say, in fact, I would pay off and then close it. So in this manner, I will alter the memorandum as a, in fact, as the managing director of the company, and I reduce the amount of share capital of its shares accordingly with the approval of the board and subsequently by passing a special resolution. In this regard, dear friends, Section 66 contains a detailed provisions with regard to the procedure. First is how reduction is effected under what circumstances. Subsection 1. Subsection 2 is the tribunal, that is the National Company Law Tribunal's powers, that it should give a notice, and then it will also give a notice to the government, central government, the Registrar of Companies, the Securities Exchange Board of India, and then the creditors within period of 3 months from the date of receipt of the notice. And then subsequently it will hear all the parties, and then it will take into account the objections, and based on that, finally orders will be passed, and if the orders are passed, then that would be intimated to the register of companies, and then finally the share capital will be reduced. So with regard to the share capital clause, you find that reduction is alteration with regard to reduction is different, alteration with regard to enhancement is different. If it is enhancement, it is with regard to altering the authorized share capital, increasing the authorized share capital. Then you have to pass a special resolution. And you want to consolidate and affect the shareholders' rights, you have to go before NCLT. Otherwise, not necessary. You have to reduce, suppose you are proposing to reduce the share capital, then you have to approach the NCLT. First a special resolution. Then under what circumstances alone you can reduce is already given under 66(1). If those circumstances attract, then you can reduce. If you reduce it, then give a notice to the, NCLT, and then give notice to the appropriate parties. Then the National Company Law Tribunal will hear all and then take into account the objections thereon and ultimately come to a conclusion and pass an order. Then the order will be binding and final, of course, subject to appellate hierarchy. Then it will have to be intimated to the Register of Companies within 30 days, and then other proceedings will be followed. My dear friends, with this background, you are now thorough with Memorandum of Association. Now, the last part of Memorandum is the association clause. This is what, because all the clauses we have now discussed elaborately. Now, what is the association clause? In fact, the requirements are concerned under Section 7, the incorporation of the company. It requires that you have to file the documents, memorandum, and articles, and you must also give a declaration, and then it should be ultimately certified by a company secretary in practice or a chartered accountant or a cost accountant, and then or by an advocate of high court, and then it should be signed by the manager, and then the declaration modus is given, and all this indicate that you are intended to become a association together for putting your small drops of investment to make a large capital base and run this particular company for a common goal, which is enshrined in the objects clause of the Memorandum of Association. So, my dear friends, with this background, we conclude our discussion. There is no case law here much to discuss with regard to reduction and all that. What is most important is the Memorandum of Association base, the Supreme Judgment, LIC versus Escorts, and various judgments I have already given to you, Courtman versus Browder, and so on and so forth. So, friends, with this background, we conclude our discussion on the Memorandum of Association, and it is the Constitution and the most vital document of the corporate entity. Friends, tomorrow's session, I will start off Article of Association, and probably I will try to complete the basis of articles, the nature and the alteration, and then the various other in fact, aspects relating thereto, and the doctrines also. As we have seen, the doctrine of virus and the exceptions in memorandum, there would be the doctrine of indoor management and constructive notice pertaining to the articles of association. So these particular aspects, probably tomorrow and after, or tomorrow itself, we will see as per the appropriate time factor. Then accordingly, we will conclude our discussion on memorandum and articles of association. With this, unit 2 will be concluded. Almost we are coming to a close. In fact, we are quite fast because we have got sufficient time, and then we have completed unit 2 almost with the balance of articles. By tomorrow, probably we'll be finishing. And then I have already given you first internal the questions also. With that, one part is over. Later on, we will start off with the third and fourth units, and followed by the appropriate second internal questions thereon. So I hope that, I mean, in the existing situation, we would be meeting only online, but I am happy the regular of the students quite regular, and then you are very good, responsive, and then very hardworking. Keep it up. I require more in number also to be present so that they will get the benefit out of it. Maybe putting it in YouTube, you are thinking you can leisurely read it later on. I don't know. But tell the friends it is face to face, a questioning, answering, and then a face to face interaction would be more useful, as we have enough interaction earlier. In the same way, in other topics also, we'll continue with our interactions. So, my dear friends, I'm very happy. Yeah. In fact, thank you very much. We'll be in touch, and then soon we'll meet again tomorrow and then take up articles of association. Goodbye, good day, good night. Thank you.